Hey everybody, it's Pete. Well, unfortunately, I have to step away from the podcast. My life has just become too busy at this point, so I won't be able to join in the banter and the good times. I can't tell you how much I've grown and learned from talking about things with Taylor. Taylor's creative vision for the podcast has really driven it to help me realize things about myself and about the concepts that we talked about that have been so meaningful. And I've wanted to be engaged as much as I needed to, and I can't. So, unfortunately for me, I have to leave the podcast. I have no doubt that the thinking will go on, and the feeling, as we are all emotional men. So the thinking, the feeling will go on, regardless of my involvement in it. But I did want to thank the people who sent out emails to us, and they appreciated the content that we share. And yeah, we just got a lot of support, for the endeavor. So I wanted to thank you again for the support. Continue to watch the Emotional Men podcast and stay engaged. Email Taylor, emotionalmenpc@gmail.com. And I know I'll still be watching, but best of luck to everybody in their future endeavors.
Oh man. Hi, Pete.
Hey, hey, everybody! It's nice to be on the internet again. I stepped out for a minute.
Yes, it's Pete and I have just had a lovely conversation. Genuinely, I'm happy to have been talking with Pete this whole time, and so we are an hour-ish into our personal conversation. We're like, oh, we have an episode we should probably maybe record.
Yeah, this is what we call the green room when we talk beforehand, and we have to like hash out not only the episode but also our personal dislikes of each other.
That's right. That's right. And I just cannot get over how Pete looks with that mustache. Like, what is wrong with you?
Oh man.
Although you did say, this is in all seriousness, your mustache looks great, but you said that you had a trimming accident, and I'm looking for it. And I cannot see what you might be referring to. Oh, and by the way, you, dear listener, can actually look for yourself because we're doing video now.
Oh, that's right. Oh
Yes.
man. Yeah. So I said I severely trimmed it because I brought it down off my nose and I came too far down. Anyway, mustache drama. I just want to be more like Taylor. And apparently we're wearing the same color shirt today, which is another magic of video you guys can see.
Yeah. Can I show you what my shirt says?
Okay. There, I ruined it. Oh, that's that's a band, isn't it? Or a video. They
Yeah.
take it and they change things.
I saw it. They played a show live in Austin, and they were so good. They were so good. They have a great song.
Not sponsors of this video.
Not sponsors at all, but they got a great video, a great song. What bro country sounds like to people who don't like bro country. And it's like, I got a beer in my truck and a beer in my beer and a dog in a truck. It's so good. Hi, everyone. This is what we look like. Like you didn't already know, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you did.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think our logo, our minimalized logo does us justice.
No, I think the logo has my head shape wrong, I think, well, no, not Jeff painted my head the way it looks, but the one that I made super quick and cheap does not look like me. Yeah.
Oh, well, if you're a graphic designer, hit us up.
Yeah, for free. Just so we're clear, we had $0.
Also, if a sponsor
PC.
wants to sponsor our graphic designer, let us know.
Yes. Yes. If someone would like to pay a graphic designer to do us not dirty,
Yeah,
we would accept that.
Emotionalmenpc@gmail.com.
Yes. Oh, speaking of which, real quick shout out to Vince.
Oh,
got a
yeah.
super lovely email from somebody neither Pete nor I know, which was a very big surprise. I got the email and I was like, this must be spam, because the only email we ever get is from people that Pete or I personally know. And so to get something from someone we didn't know was very special, and it was a very lovely email. And for his patronage, we sent him stickers.
Yeah, sent those off a couple days ago, by the way, Vince. Hopefully you get them soon.
Yeah,
with a
and
little
if you
note.
haven't, Pete messed up, and you can find Pete in Nashville, Tennessee.
No,
Knoxville, excuse me, Knoxville.
No, I constantly live with this sense of guilt. Please don't tell me if I got your address wrong or something. Just smile and nod. Everyone, just when you're around me, just smile and nod, please.
Protect Pete from the harsh realities of existence.
Yeah, I'm still 10 years old inside. I can't handle being an adult.
It's funny, you haven't really grown since 10, so it kind of matches.
Oh, man.
Hi-oh.
Shots fired. Anyway,
yes.
I'm Pete. I'm a licensed and clinical social worker. Right
Oh, that's
now,
right.
Going to school at Knoxville,
Yes.
Tennessee. I'm an active duty military member. And Taylor is also a therapist. He got a degree in applied philosophy.
Essentially, yes. My degree is in counseling psychology. So like I'm an actual trained therapist, and my focus was applied philosophy. Anyway, what are we talking about today, Pete? Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Today we're talking about something really interesting. Not only because it's an important topic, but because it's also kind of nuanced. It's like the title that we have is Managing Success, which I think some people really, really wish that they had that problem. They really want that problem. And I wish that problem on everyone. However, the people who can't do it, and it actually is a problem, it can be devastating. It's not a good thing.
My experience has been that everyone wants to have the benefits of success, but not everybody's willing to pay what you need to have success actually take root in your life, which is a bummer. It's hard. There's no two ways about it.
Yep. And our podcast is called Emotional Men, so we admittedly have kind of a masculine skew to our approach, both being men. This one in particular, though, is quite a unisex topic. But because to a hammer everything is a nail, I have to talk about it from my perspective and from the perspective that I've seen, which comes out of my brain and my mouth and from my eyes.
And if you look close enough, you can see through Pete's thin skin. You can actually see the brain inside of his skull.
The wheels turn. Yeah, actually.
Yeah. Just like a bubbling motion in your head.
Oh gosh, I've felt that way some days. Anyway, the first bit I think was really important to talk about is defining your sense of success, which of course success is really easy professionally to define because it usually comes with money numbers and position titles and stuff like that. On a personal note, it can mean relationships, it can mean locations that you're living in. Like, what does success mean to you? And more often than not, people I work with have not defined that. And I say, what do you want out of life? And they're like, I don't know, good things. Well, what does that mean? Like a hamburger? Hamburger's a good thing.
Hamburgers are great, yeah.
How do you define success? And so there's a personal aspect of success and a professional aspect of success.
You know, it's interesting in my intake notes, I have 3 questions I ask at the end that I've had as long as I've been a therapist. And they are, what brings you the most joy in your life? What are your biggest fears and disappointment? Like, what do you worry about? And then what are your biggest hopes and dreams? And the number of times that someone gets that third one and they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you'd be shocked, or maybe you wouldn't actually, based on what you just said.
Yeah, maybe the people listening are like, actually, what do I want? I'll tell you what I wanted initially. When I first joined the military, I was in aircraft maintenance, and I knew the rank that I wanted to achieve. And as I went through aircraft maintenance, I found the job wasn't for me. I got out, and I had some time as a civilian before I got back in. So as a civilian, I learned that nobody cares. Nobody cares what you are when you retire. So you have this personal aspiration, or I did. I was like, I want to retire as a colonel, as an 06, as a full bird colonel. Why? Well, does that mean that you're better at your job? Sometimes you're good with people. You've a lot of times it's luck. You get the positions that make colonel. You get leaders that help you out a lot. They tell you what you need to do. So you want to feel like you have control over your career. And if I do these things, then I'll make colonel and whatever. But honestly, it may not reflect your actual success. And when you retire,
Or capacity.
yeah, yeah. Like maybe I'm not a good enough maintenance officer, and I don't think I was to make colonel. And so when I retire, it's just veteran. That's all. You're just veteran, unless you hang out with the VA, or you go to like your what is it?
VW, Veteran of Foreign Wars and
Foreign Wars, yeah, VFW. then they'll know, and they may like offhandedly, tongue in cheek, call you colonel or whatever. But to everyone else, you are just veteran. That gave me such a perspective of success. That was that I think is useful. I think is useful going forward.
Yeah. So how do you define success for yourself?
Well, for me, it was being financially capable or being financially stable. That was one. And stability just means I'm not worrying month to month. And I have savings, and I'm not depleting my savings in my month to month financially stable, which also is not just getting a good job that pays well, but it's also my self-discipline to not eat hamburgers every week, and that I can be financially stable where I'm not eating into my savings, literally, because that's what I would spend my money on. Anyway, so first one is like financially stable, and second is probably eventually get my kids successfully launched up and out. And then the third stage of my life would be living where I want to live, doing what I want to do. It's funny, the success kind of comes in stages now, because my end goal here is to live in the woods, build a cabin, and yeah, that's it.
Eat squirrels.
And yeah, eat squirrels. I honestly, I've acreage in Idaho that I look forward to chopping down trees, notching them, building a cabin, and living in the cabin. Like, that's my goal, what I want to do. And I would consider myself successful if I was financially stable enough to do that. And I've worked really hard to get towards that goal, even though I know I can't do it right now. I can't. In my life situation, I can't. So I feel like that is success for another time.
So if you could go into the future, dear listener, by about 40 or 50 years and find an old half-naked man living in the Idaho woods...
Hey, my beard would cover it.
That's true. Who are you? My name's Pete Kingsley, and I can help your emotions.
Care for some squirrel?
God, watch out for the nuts.
Yeah. So that would be mine. But also, I know that I may not get there completely out of my control, because our last episode we did talk about power and control. So I will do my best to influence those things, with the understanding that to remain flexible, I have to stay flexible.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that you probably wouldn't go live in a cabin in the woods if, like, you or your wife was in a car accident and couldn't walk anymore.
Yeah, right. And then we have
We'd
to
be like,
sell
all
the
right.
acreage.
Yeah,
But
sell
that's
the acres.
success. I define success this way, Katie. I'm sorry you don't have legs, but we have to do this because I want to be successful in life.
You need a four-wheeler motorized thing, because I'm not pushing you over these logs, baby.
Yeah. What about you, Taylor? How would you classify success?
I think that for me, success is having accomplished stuff. What I want to have done when I'm gone, I want to have something that people can look at and understand me. I think the most important thing to me is for people to understand me and accept what they understand. That's really important to me. I think that success for me is choice, having choice, right? Like you said, I want to be where I want to be.
Yeah.
So for example, I've been very seriously considering if I should take a week off from my job and just like de-stress for a little bit. It sounds amazing. And I have that option at the moment. I don't always have that option, but I could in theory do that right now. And that feels like success, to have the choice. I don't know if I'm actually going to do it because I don't get PTO, but I could in theory, and we wouldn't lose the house or anything. So that's good. I think success is, I feel successful when people trust me. I feel successful when I'm not beholden to other people. Like, running my own business is a huge success for me, because it means that I get to define what I do, when I do it, and how I do it. Success for me is forward motion, forward movement. I feel like the opposite of success for me would be going to where I was. I've always really struggled with that idea. Like, moving back to Seattle, for example, would be really hard for me, just because I did this already. I've already done this. So success is forward movement. Success is growth. Success is having something to show for it, I guess. And success is being able to determine my time roughly. You know, I have kids and I don't always get to do that. And I have my career and this, and I have obligations, but these are all obligations I chose and I'm okay with. So that feels successful to me.
So you brought up choice, and I think people who are financially successful say that they have more choice to do things. But honestly, if I was a millionaire, I don't know if I would want someone else to build my cabin. That's still something that I enjoy doing. I would have the choice to build a cabin. What would then I would have the choice to do if I live that basically? Then the financial success beyond stability, I mean, the meaning of it goes down exponentially. Just
Yeah.
I have the choice to buy more land, I guess, but I don't need it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I fully agree with that. Choice to me is success. And I've learned from talking to people and my job and my life, I've learned that what rich people spend their money on is things that give them time. So like the reason rich people have like housemaids or have people who take care of their lawn or these things were like, well, you could do that. Like, yeah, but I don't have to. And I can use the time that I was going to do that to do something else.
Yes.
That's really stuck with me, that real financial success, for example, is being able to decide how my time is spent. And for Pete, if Pete did have $1 million, I fully believe that he would still build his own cabin and be very happy with that, because that's what he would want to do with his time. That is a successful choice.
That is true. Yeah. Time then becomes the real value when you're successful. And I think then rich people can say rich people. I don't mean to put all you rich people in a box. Sorry, all the wealthy listeners we have.
All none of you.
But I mean, if even if you're a person of modest means, and I know that I'm very lucky to have the job that I had, to be able to, and I jumped on this opportunity pre-COVID. I bought my property in like 2017 or 18 for a song from a lumber company that was liquidating assets. They are no longer liquidating assets because of all this the economical hoopla, and I consider myself very lucky. So there's some luck in my situation to where I could feel that I am in control of my life and I'm moving towards this financial success. But I have to admit that control is an illusion, and I've just influenced things, and I've tried my best to be places. And anyway,
as we think about this and talk about success, one of the things that really came to my mind is that success is not a moment. Success is a process, and it's continual. Like, for example, like Nirvana, a very successful band, I would say. But they were a band that existed for years before that moment. And then they became successful because they were able to capitalize on what they did and give it legs. And so success is not, for me, success is not a single moment. Unless it's like, I have successfully done this thing, then yeah, you have successfully done this thing. But to be a success, I think, is to build in some longevity, or to have some longevity into what you do, and taking advantage of opportunities and translating them into bigger and better things. Which I guess is all to say, it's pretty hard to accidentally be successful. Like you can say, like, for example, penicillin was an accident. Discovering penicillin was a complete, thank goodness it happened, but like they weren't trying to do it. The guy just noticed, oh, this fungus that I have, I forget exactly how they would. I believe somebody left a petri dish out too long and then noticed that the petri dish was behaving a specific way with a certain kind of fungus. And they did research. He's like, oh my goodness, this kills bacteria. And then they were able to replicate it. Like that was an accident. But the success was in taking the opportunity the accident provided them and making something bigger than it.
So getting legs, like if you go to a show as a musician and all of a sudden the band that you happen to be with, this group of guys that you're with, and people are just screaming and going nuts and you absolutely love it. And you and your bandmates are looking around at each other going, I think we got something. And now you have the choice to either like go back home or go to a recording studio and try.
Absolutely. And I was watching my buddy, actually, Jihad. We all know Jihad.
Oh, yeah.
Bless his big hairy heart. Yes. He literally, just before we started recording this episode, sent me an Instagram post of John Hamm, who played Don Draper on Mad Men. And John Hamm was talking to the Kelsey brothers, the football players. And he's like, look, guys, anybody can get in the batter box. Being able to capitalize on the moment, that's the success. Getting the moment is like a part of it, but you've got to be able to turn that moment into a series of moments. Otherwise, it's not success. It's dumb luck. And it's not sustainable. Luck is not sustainable because it will run out.
Do you think that capitalizing on luck once opens the opportunities for more luck?
Yeah, yes, I do. I think luck always has the same chance of showing up, but I think the opportunities and the type of luck you have access to depend on your capacity to capitalize on existent opportunities.
Well, as a social worker, I keep thinking about, I brought up the topic of luck, and I kind of have to bow to the fact that like some of my opportunities have come as a surprise to me. And I am fortunate more than I'm powerful in this way, you know. But what you're saying is people are often fortunate and they don't take it.
Yes. I mean, let's take a look at, if you forgive perhaps a few identity politics hot words, you and I are both men. We're both white. We were both born into families that had more than enough money to give us food, and we had access to education, and we were able to use that luck to build careers. Did we deserve the opportunity? Not necessarily, but we got it. And then we capitalize on it and turn it into something so we can give that opportunity to our kids. Again, they didn't deserve it either, but we were able to capitalize on what we were very fortunate to get and turn it into something stable. And there are lots of people who get really lucky. Like we talked about, I think it was in our last episode, people who win the lottery and then 2 years later, all that money's gone. They're very fortunate, very lucky. And then because they didn't know how to capitalize on it, they lost it.
It's a strange dichotomy though. I feel this need to defend throughout the years of like my successes, because you feel like your capitalization on it is all you. Like it's all me. Like to not recognize the fortunateness of it, the luck, you don't recognize the luck. And so you just recognize your efforts. Or perhaps when you said deserve, like, do I deserve what my parents gave me? I want to say yes, because I'm a human and whatever, but as I grow, I'm like, realized a lot of people deserve, because they're so intelligent, they're so capable, more than me, and they got not half as much as I did. Did I deserve to get what I got? Wow. It's just a huge revelation to be like, no, actually, I am just me, and I didn't deserve any of that. And the fact that I capitalized on it, I don't even feel guilty about it, that I took advantage of an opportunity that was handed to me for free. But you have to recognize that you didn't deserve it. Like buying my property, the opportunity for them to give me this price, and I talked them down to a lower price that is now ridiculous. I'm afraid to actually tell you how much I bought this acreage for. But if I told you, it'd be like, what? Why? Because it was just, you know, less than 20 years ago, and it is now worth probably 5 times what I paid for it. And
dumb luck.
I didn't deserve the price. Like I did not do anything to deserve that, but it just came up, and I took a hold of it. So there's this natural feeling to be guilty, or not to be guilty, but to defend yourself from saying you don't deserve it. But it's okay. It's okay to be handed a gift.
And to use that gift, and to also recognize that, like, for example, I have natural gifts that I've parlayed them into a career. Thank goodness I had gifts that I could use to make a career. There was some real doubt in a lot of people's minds for a long time that old Taylor McCary would ever land on his feet.
Not my mind.
Well, that's very kind of you. I think I've said this before. I had a math teacher in high school who told me I deserve every bad thing that ever happened to me.
Man.
But right, like I was able to capitalize on what I had and take advantage of it. The skill that I have opens doors for me in a particular way. But getting that first door opened, like I think I mentioned this before, Janine Candelot. The reason I'm a therapist, if you boil it down to its very most basic form, I was a waiter and I was working a Tuesday shift at noon. And the second person who came in that day was Janine Candelot, who changed my life. Pure, stupid, dumb luck. Like the dumbest of dumb luck. But I got it and I took advantage of it. And I changed from I was going to be an audio engineer, and now I'm a therapist. And I really am happy with the direction my life has gone, but pure dumb luck that I was able to capitalize on. Thank goodness. You're talking about like luck and natural capacity. I read something some time ago that said, like, for every Einstein, there's 5 Einsteins who live in a village in China that no one will ever know.
Oh my gosh.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
Einstein lucked into it and we lucked into Einstein, but there are people who are just as intelligent, just as capable, who are living in the worst conditions, and nobody will ever know their capacity through no fault of their own.
When it comes to managing success, probably the first step is knowing what you want. Like we talked about hopes and dreams at the beginning of this, And maybe second, managing success would also require you to recognize the fortune. I don't know if that's the right word. Recognize the luck. Recognize the dumb luck, as Taylor said, that you had it. But then once you have it, we're talking about managing success. That's all preliminary to actually getting it.
I want to throw in real quick. I think I said this before, but I want to hammer this point home really hard. It is, I think, impossible to accidentally be successful. It doesn't happen. You can accidentally have something that sets you up for success. You can accidentally come across something that you can use for success, but to be successful, I don't think it's possible to happen on accident. Certainly, like, I won't accidentally paint the greatest painting ever. I won't accidentally write the next great American novel. This podcast that will probably never mean anything to anybody but us. If it does become something that means something to other people, it's not because we accidentally did it. We are very intentional in that we're making a thing, we're doing a thing.
Well, that's interesting. That means that the lottery winner, I just saw a documentary on this thing. The lottery winner then, who built a demolition derby in his backyard and had an entourage of sycophants behind him that he would buy things for. Just being a lottery winner then does not make you successful. You would not say
it makes you rich.
He's a successful lottery winner. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make you rich. So
it does make you rich. It doesn't make you successful.
Oh, yeah. It does make you successful. So in our sequence of managing success, setting goals, recognizing your luck, capitalizing on your luck, and then doing something with it, or once you have it and capitalize on it, what do you do with it? He probably stopped maybe at recognizing his luck. You set your goals. I want to make, how many millions of dollars on the Super Bowl. He won and he was like, wow, I recognize my luck. And then what did he do? He squandered it, completely drained it. It was like if somebody at that restaurant had met you and convinced you to be a therapist. I don't know. And then you decided to go to school and you insulted every teacher and bombed every test and just said, I don't need this, and like threw papers and like,
I've got a job. Why would I need education?
Yeah, exactly. I have a job. Like, wow, I can't believe how lucky I am that this person recognized a therapist in me. And then you totally ruined school.
Just throw it away. Yeah. I mean, that's a really fantastic way of putting that. If Janine Candelot came into my life and I took the job at Wasatch Mental Health that I did, and then I worked as an undergrad, and then I stopped there. I was like, well, this is it. I did it. I know no more need for growth because I've arrived. I would still be making, I mean, like, and money is not the point here, right? But I was not making what I'm making now. And that's like it's so weird talking about money, right? Like, then again, I advertise my rate so people know how much money I make. The point is, I could have stopped there and I could have been okay with, I would have been okay, like, as a human being. But I wanted more, and so I used what I had to reach for more luck. And because I switched my major, I met a professor named Matt Draper. And because I had a professor named Matt Draper, I learned about Seattle University. And because I went to Seattle University, I became the kind of therapist that I am. And because of the kind of therapist I am, I'm able to have the career that I do. All of these things are steps built on luck that leads to a different kind of luck, that leads to more choice, that leads to different kinds of luck.
Mm-hmm. That's the once you capitalize on your luck, now we're in the what do you do with it stage. And if you have some taste of success, not necessarily an endpoint, as Taylor mentioned, success is a process, and you can have a successful life, meaning that you're not done with it by the time you're over. You have a successful life, meaning like, wow, he just built potential, and he could have done so much more, but he ran out of time. I think that's a successful life. Which is kind of a mixed tragedy, which is a weird way to think about it. But you had mentioned several times, once you have success, you have a taste of success and in building more luck, you need growth. You need progress. You're always pointed in the right direction. Even if you're resting, at least your body is pointed in the right direction. And you have choice, which choice is professional and personal.
My doorbell just rang, and I think it's the tree trimmers. I will disappear, and Pete can tell that same joke again. What did I miss, Pete?
I hope he had his headphones on this whole time.
I did, but I couldn't hear because I was talking to the guy, and I'm legitimately impressed that you just talked that whole time without.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well done.
Thanks.
I don't know what you said, but I could hear you talking.
Don't worry. Somebody will write you an email later and tell you what I said.
Okay. Great.
One aspect, well, I was just asking the listeners, is there a time in their life when they recognized a bit of luck, something fortunate that happened to them, and they let it go and they regret it? Or is there a time just like you when something good happened to them and they capitalized on it? And
Oh, dude. Can I answer that real quick?
Okay, yeah. Go for it.
This is a really dumb example of luck being not capitalized on that is silly. When I was in college, I play guitar, I talk about it a lot. There is a white Epiphone Explorer that I could have bought for $400. This same guitar is probably worth like $800, $900 now, but that's not the point. The point was I picked it up and played it, and I was like, this guitar was made for me. It fit my hand perfectly. I was like, $400 though, it's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of money. When I tell you that I lament not buying that guitar at least once a week and have for the last 20 something years, oh man, I wish I bought that guitar.
Do you think buying the guitar would have opened things up for you later? It would have given you, is it capitalizing on the luck of a cheap guitar?
I think what it would have opened up, I mean, anytime you get a new instrument, it brings new things out of you. The look, the feel, the heft, the way it sounds. So I think I would have gotten some good songs out of it. I would have loved that guitar as much as I love my other guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't buy that guitar. Oh. So
was-
you were about to say one of yours, I think. I apologize.
Oh yeah. Well, it was previously in another life. I was really looking into medicine in a serious way. I had applied to several PA schools. I was and then a doctor that I was shadowing at the time had said, like, you need to look into going to med school. PA schools are like really over applied, and they were like 1,200 applicants for 80 seats in a PA school any given year. And it was like, holy cow, there's no way I could compete. No way at all. You have people who've been EMTs for 5 years and gotten straight A's in all their science, and I was not. Anyway, so I was looking at medical schools, and there was one medical school that was kind of different. It wasn't U.S. based. It was offshore. But it still like gives you a medical degree, and they have residencies available in the United States. And my letter of interest was answered, and by then I was thinking seriously about mental health and going in to be a therapist. So it wasn't necessarily luck, but I did not pursue that letter of interest from that medical school.
Certainly
so
opportunity.
Yeah, it was always this question, like if I've gone to mental health or I've gone to medicine, one way or the other, I'm not sure. And even if that matters. Oh, here's another one. The Air Force really wants to keep its maintenance officers, its aircraft maintenance officers, because it's a hard job. So they really want to keep them. I was getting out. I had a seat ready for me at the University of Wyoming to go to learn to be a therapist. And we had the assignments officer come and visit us. I've told this story, I think. The assignments officer for maintenance officers come, and he sat down with each one of us to ask us what our aspirations were for the career and where we wanted to go and tell us about options. It was kind of a rare thing to talk to the assignments officer from Lakenheath. Or not Lakenheath, Lackland. Anyway, he came up to Georgia and talked to us. When I sat down with him, he was like, so I see that...
Real quick, what were you... So this is after you got your thing in Wyoming, or is this before?
So I was an aircraft maintenance officer, I was a captain, and I was... the Air Force knew that I was getting out. I put in...
Captain Kingles.
Yeah, exactly. I had my separation notification in, and I said I have a seat waiting for me at school, and I'm going to be a therapist, and they knew that. So when he came down and talked to me, it was kind of like I thought he'd just be like a see ya, but like I said, they wanted to keep you in. So he sat down and said, I see you're leaving, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go be a therapist, have fun. And he was like, actually, what would it take to keep you in? And I was like, or where would you want to go if you're staying in? That's what he said. Where would you go if you want to stay in? And I was like, I'm not staying in. I got a seat waiting for me, like school's waiting for me. I know where I'm going. And he goes, no, you don't understand me. Where would you want to go if you were staying in? And I was like, oh, and he pulled up my file on his laptop, and he says, "I see you've put overseas as your assignments, a lot of overseas assignments." And I was like, "Yeah, I want to go over. I wanted to go overseas when I was in." He goes, "Okay." And he pulls out his cell phone and he texts somebody, and like 10 seconds later, he gets a response. He goes, "Okay, we have you soft matched to Sigonella, Italy." And I was like, "What?" And he shows me his cell phone, and it has my name, it has my service number, my social, and it says Sigonella, Italy. And that's in Cyprus. That's a stop and go base. It's a gas and go. It's on an Italian island in the Mediterranean, and it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So in that moment, you have to choose, am I going to go to Cyprus for 3 years and live in Italy, or do I pursue what I wanted to?
Wow.
Yeah. And
I don't remember this story.
I had to go home, and I had to tell my wife that I turned down Cyprus. She was not. Yeah. I turned down Sig to pursue this. To pursue this. Oh.
I'm thinking in my mind right now, like if I did that with my wife, hey, sweetie, we could have gone to go live in the Mediterranean in Italy for 3 years paid,
Yeah.
but let's go to Wyoming instead.
Exactly. It's exactly what it was.
Whoa.
But because I had set goals, I'd preset goals, and that didn't fit in my goals. And I was like, man,
Yeah.
if I had any different goals, like if they had said, "Hey, we're going to send you to therapy school in Cyprus," it's like, oh my gosh, that aligns perfectly. Fine. But they didn't. And there were at the time no options to do what I wanted to do. And oh my gosh, they didn't have like a
Which
lot
is
of online
that's interesting
programs.
because isn't the Air Force paying for your PhD?
They are. So yeah. Yeah, that was pursued.
Thanks, taxpayers.
I want to get a whole bunch of emails now. They're like, we do mind. Anyway,
Well,
because I didn't pursue one avenue of luck that didn't align with my goals, I pursued this avenue of luck, and then I applied later when I was back in the Air Force for this PhD program. Never has the Air Force selected 2 applicants at 1 year to go to a PhD program, and they did this year. Nicole
Wow.
Smith and Pete Kingsley both got selected for the PhD program. But that was only because I maintained my momentum towards the goals that I wanted and not anyone else's goals of success.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out
That's
also,
a big deal.
Yeah, it turns out also that being soft matched on someone's cell phone doesn't mean very much. And a gas and go base for a maintenance officer, no offense to anyone listening to this, may not look so good on your performance report because they know what that's like. They know that you're not doing heavy maintenance. You don't have to coordinate flying schedules. You have heavies coming in, getting fuel, and going to their bases back and forth. So it's not like a real gold star on your maintenance record unless you do something special. So somebody went to SIG and they know better. That's just what I heard.
Interesting.
So as I'm away from that, I was like, wow. So I maintained what I thought was success, and now here I am, further along on it. Following someone else's definition of success may have helped me make Colonel, and it would not have helped my choices. I mean, the choice that I have to become a therapist.
Mm-hmm. This brings up a question for me. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on. Is success then defined by your intention? Is success defined by your effort? Or is success defined by your outcome?
Oh, man. Because if I had stayed in, if goals are so important, what you want out of your efforts is so important because it defines everything about success. If I want to be a millionaire, and I have deep respect for people who play Monopoly with their lives, and they recognize that it's just Monopoly. We had a very wealthy person in my last congregation who's very open about his finances and what he does to make money, and it's just a game for him. He opens a business, he plays with it around, and it was not secretive personal finances. It was the game that he plays with his life, and it was fun to talk to him about it. And that was his intention was not to be rich. His intention was to make money, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So, some people play Monopoly to win and like beat everybody, and some people play Monopoly because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. And he just
Yeah.
thought it was fun. So, but was he successful at it? His intention, I don't think it's intention. The road to hell is paved with those.
Yeah. Well, so this is an interesting question. If anybody here has ever watched Silicon Valley, they know about the idea of the pivot, which is you have something, it's not doing what you want it to do, and so you pivot and then it becomes successful. For example, jeez Louise. Goodness gracious. Instagram was not a photo app. It was a complex check-in app. You would go to a place and you'd use Instagram to check into the location. And they found that the founders were like, oh, people are using the photo aspect of this the most, so we'll just lean into that. YouTube started as a video dating site. YouTube was not a place for people to post videos about stuff. It was a place for people to, this is who I am, and let's go on dates. And like YouTube is not that anymore. Twitter was originally for subscribing to podcasts.
So you're saying you can develop something, you can produce something or try, but if your intention may be wrong.
Yeah, so I don't think anybody would look at Instagram and be like, well, you intended to be a check-in app, and now all you do is post pictures and make billions upon billions of dollars, so you are not a success.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it works.
Yep. As again, the personal professional dichotomy. If you have really good intentions and you try really hard and yet you are unsuccessful, there are honorable people who have failed at what they do and they keep trying. Oh, who's that guy who made the car that disrupted the car industry in the 50s, and the big three tried their best to kill it? It's the one where like the headlights follow the turn of the wheel, the trunk was in the front. Dang it was they only made 50 of them. And he tried so hard, and I love reading that story that he had this great intention. He's an inventor, he's progressive, and he just couldn't get it off the ground because he was targeted by the other auto companies. So it's hard for me to say it's completely based on outcome, because you see people who just didn't have the luck associated with their efforts. And yet, how else do you define success? Be like, I was an unsuccessful car maker. Well, yeah, I guess that's right. If you don't have the outcome, if you're not financially stable, if I didn't build that cabin in the woods, but I really wanted to, for the good reasons, and I tried really hard, I just didn't ever do it. As much as it tastes bad to say, I have to say outcomes involved.
I don't know about that. Well, it's intended outcome. I'll push against that. I think outcome is important because this guy you're talking about, you're still talking about him 70 years later.
Oh yeah, intended pivot.
I mean, yeah. Well, his intention wasn't to have people talk about him because he tried and failed. His intention was to have his cars last forever. And it's interesting too that the things you talked about, those are big deals now to get in a car. Those are luxury items. To turn your wheel and have the lights go the direction you're turning, that's considered that's high-end automaking. And he did this 70 years ago. That sounds pretty cool and successful. I don't think his intention was to have it die after 50 cars, but certainly the outcomes we're still talking about. People in the industry, we don't even know this guy's name.
Yeah.
But people still know who he was. I don't know. Interesting.
So, yeah. So can you lay it all on the feet of outcome? Are you successful or not?
I think it's a balance of all three. I don't know that you can be successful without intention. I will say, I know you cannot be successful without some intentionality. It does not accidentally happen.
That's the goals and the vision. You need that.
And then you need to do the work. And the work is the not sexy part. I know people who are like, I want to be a rock star. I was like, okay, so you want to ride in a van and play the same 12-song set for 3 years straight in the same van and sleeping on people's couches? No, then you don't want to be a rock star, because that's what it takes to get there. I want to build buildings. Do you enjoy drafting buildings? Do you enjoy looking at materials? Do you enjoy doing math? Do you enjoy... No, I just want to draw buildings. Then you don't want to be an architect, because the work of being an architect is that. You've got to enjoy the work to doing the thing. To be a therapist, being a therapist is not being at the end of the day going, I helped people. Being a therapist is being with people, helping them. And there is a difference.
Ooh,
people want the success, but they don't want the work that comes towards the success. You need intentionality, you need effort, and there has to be an outcome you're tracking. and they all exist at the same time, but they don't all have to exist in the same way. And you have some wiggle room as you interact with those.
I wanted to specifically bring up the balance of personal and professional success, because sometimes those conflict. And as a therapist, I would say choose personal success. But that's just my lens that I see. I wanted to bring up a study from 2003, and the title of this study was Zeroing In on the Dark Side of the American Dream, a closer look at the negative consequences of the goal for financial success. Now, what's really important about this study is the dark side of the goal, not the dark side of the success or the dark side of the money. Like I said, I had a friend who's very financially successful, and he maintained a good family life. The basis of this study here talked about how strong someone's financial goal was compared with the negative consequences. And the strongest negative impacts were concerning relationships with other people, and other aspects of psychological well-being. At the end of their abstract, it says, the negative consequences were particularly severe for the domain of family life. The stronger the goal for financial success, the lower the satisfaction, regardless of household income. Isn't that interesting? Regardless it's the goal itself.
Interesting. I'm examining my goals right now. Crap, what am I doing with myself?
I think it's well, also we have to say that we are saying the domain of family life is the preeminent goal for everybody, as if like everybody wants families, everyone should be married and have kids or whatever. That is not true of everybody. And so if you don't, if family life isn't necessarily a dominant goal for you or a huge support for you right now, then heck, you can let it struggle for the sake of the goal. But
absolutely.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that where your mind is where the impact is, not necessarily the efforts,
the
or
lived
the
experience.
successes. Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Does that mean then that if you over-index on a goal, like the I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to put everything I have toward, I'm going to accomplish, like the guy who wanted to fly the F-16.
Yeah, I remember that guy.
The goal becomes almost like an impediment to his capacity to find success outside of that goal.
Yes, because we talked about pivoting and how you can redesign your success and make it huge by pivoting. And if you say I'm going to fly F-16s, I'm going to be the best F-16 pilot in the world, and you're just like, hey dude, you made pilot, sweet. You made fighter, sweet. You're going to fly an F-15E. What?
I quit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I quit. That's an air superiority fighter. I want an interdiction. And you're like, okay, but let's go in our time machine. And you see that you are like now a 1-star general who's redefined air-to-air combat because you capitalized on the F-15E flying dynamics. But let's go back, and now you're a cadet again, and you make the choice. You have a choice.
I mean, Pete could have gone to Italy and put airplane fuel into airplanes, and then his career could have stalled out.
My therapy career.
Your therapy career, sure. But now you're in the Air Force working towards higher education, still an officer. Your education's being paid for by the military, and you have greater opportunity within the context of the military because of your adherence to the goal. It circles back around, right? I mean, like I may have mentioned the story before about there's a Chinese proverb, and I guess it doesn't have to be Chinese. It could be Australian for all I care. But the proverb is there's a man who's a farmer. He has a horse farm, and he and his son have a horse, and the horse gets out, and his neighbors go, "Oh, what a bummer. Your horse got out." He goes, "Oh, we'll see." The next day, the horse comes back, but because it came back, it brought along 2 wild horses that it made friends with. Like, "Oh my goodness, what a gift. You have these 3 horses now." And he goes, "Yeah, we'll see." And so his son goes on the horses to try and break them the next day, and the horses aren't going to be broken very easily. And the son gets bucked and breaks his leg. And his neighbor's like, "Oh, your son broke his leg. What a tragedy. Now you have to do all this work by yourself." And he goes, "Yeah, we'll see." A week later, the country declares war, and they go from house to house getting someone to come fight in the war. They get to his house. His son has a broken leg. They can't take him. Honorably ignored, moved on to the next thing. And his neighbors go, "You're so lucky your son isn't going to go die in war." And he goes, "Yeah, we'll see."
Yeah, but that
Pivot.
Yeah. Are you willing to live in a sea of maybes? Everything that happens to you is then a maybe. It can be terribly unstructured or feel like you're at the mercy of fate. And if you are scared by that, well, I got some bad news for you.
Mm-hmm.
It is true.
It speaks to a bigger thing, which is important, I think, to acknowledge, which is some instability is not the same as being unstable. The idea of like, I'm on an airplane, but does that mean I'm not in control because I'm not controlling the airplane? That's kind of how I view this instability. Like there are things that require some in the moment navigation. This podcast is a fantastic example. Pete is getting a PhD. I'm running a business. There's a lot of moving parts in our lives that we have to navigate. And sometimes we have a plan and then we have to move the plan and make room for the thing and it becomes something else. And that's great. Does that mean we haven't been successful because we didn't, for example, let's say next week we want to meet on Friday morning and then something comes up and Pete's like, I can't do it. Have we failed the podcast because we have to move the time? No.
So would you recommend having broad, successful definitions for somebody who's like, what does success mean? It means I want to be happy. Or would you say, then what would success mean? It means I want to live in Florida on the East Coast in a 3-bedroom house with my wife.
Well, my wife and I wanted to move to Boston and we wanted to live there. We wanted to live on the East Coast for the rest of our lives. And so we pursued that goal. I finished my master's degree and she got into Boston University and we went to Boston and it beat the crap out of us. It was a really hard place for us. I still love Boston with all my cold, broken, dead heart. I have ancestors who were on the Mayflower. Like I have deep, deep, deep ties to the East Coast. But for us, once we got there, it was not sustainable. Did we fail because we left Boston? Were we not successful in our efforts? I don't know, because we did it. We went to Boston. We lived there. We have people there still to this day that we care very deeply about. I can drive the streets of Boston knowing where I am and how to get where I'm going without looking at a map, which is really impressive if you've ever been to Boston.
Anywhere on these coasts, actually.
Yeah. But did I fail? Was I not successful? I think I was very successful because I lived there and I did it. And then once I realized that staying there long term was not actually what I wanted, I pivoted and I have a new goal.
Can you accept the pivot as a measure of success?
In the moment, I couldn't.
I changed. Yeah, exactly. It's hard.
We'll
I changed
see.
careers, and I can't help. It took a long time for me to shake the feeling that I quit. I quit because it was hard. Like that's what I tell myself. I quit because it was hard. When really, I look back now, and I was like, I'm a much better therapist than I was a maintenance officer, and I didn't quit. I fulfilled my commitment. Like I didn't leave early. I fulfilled my commitment, and then some. I spent 7, almost 8 years in the military. I didn't quit. I just fulfilled my commitment. But yet there's this tendency when you have this like predefined measure of success that I have to stay with that until I'm dead or else I'm not successful.
Which is such a limiting factor. I feel like I have to acknowledge I feel a little uncomfortable because I feel like this is really close to like those alpha bros who are like success, pivot, mindset. That's not at all what this is. We're not.
Oh,
we're not those people who like.
Next week, Andrew Tate is going to be our guest.
Oh, my goodness! I'm just imagining ways I can kill myself before ever having to talk to that man. He is not our guest. I never have any desire to talk to Andrew Tate.
We'll create a video short that just has me saying that.
And Andrew Tate, oh no, because then he might see it somehow. The infinitesimal chance he sees is like, oh, I guess these men need a real man to show them. No, we're not talking influencer success. We're not talking like visualize your success and it's yours. I think we're trying to be very realistic here, which is what do you have access to? How do you use what you have access to? And are you willing to navigate once you have that thing to other opportunities that open up? A lot of this is choice. A lot of it is luck, but there's always the intentionality. What am I actually trying to do? And that leads you to things that you do. And those things that you do lead to outcomes. Intentionality, work, outcomes.
What's the Shakespearean quote about outrageous fortune?
My wife's going to kill me. I don't know this, but she doesn't listen to the podcast, so whatever.
Let's see here. Slings and arrows. Oh, dang it. It's in Hamlet. To be or not to be, whether 'tis nobler in their mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them.
Hmm.
So, which is it? I mean, he's talking about,
I'm going to say to
something
be.
else.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I would take the to be. And I say that kind of jokingly, but also like who I am as a human being. I would try to be than accept not being.
And in terms of success, if we're going to make this a quote about success, to be or not to be means, am I going to be a therapist or am I not to be a therapist? Am I going to be a maintenance officer or not? And that means
I disagree with
have
that, actually. I don't think that's the question. Am I going to be doing?
In my choice,
ahead.
it was like, am I going to go to Sigonella and continue to be a maintenance officer, or do I kill this career and I choose to be? And what do I choose to be? A therapist. And that means I have to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, whatever that is. That means I have to take up arms against my incoming sea of troubles. And that takes psychological flexibility, because now you're delving into the sea of troubles, and instead of staying with what you know.
Yeah, which I think is so great. I thought about my life, I do. I really
talk
do.
about Taylor and confrontation and truth, like brutal honesty with Taylor. He's like, give me all the slings and arrows you have, then you'll be out of them.
Then at least I'll know what the arrow looks like and what it feels like when I get hit. Like when I think about, I'm going to be dead someday, hopefully not anytime soon, but I think unless I get shot in the back of the head, there will be a reckoning I will have with my life before I die. And when I die, or in the process of dying, the thing that I will be the most proud of is that I tried. Like if I had tried to be a therapist, give it an honest to goodness effort, and it didn't work, I'd be so disappointed and so heartbroken. But I wouldn't wonder. The bands that I was in, I pushed really hard and they went nowhere. But you know what I'm not going to have to worry about when I die? Wondering if I could have made it. I don't need to worry about that because I was in a band. I bead. I was being.
Yeah.
I bead. I totally bead.
So it is not outcome then. It's intent and effort for you.
For me, it's intent and effort. And the effort is, for me, the most important thing, that I give it an honest, fair shot.
Oh, man.
And I think that's why go ahead.
Sounds like effort is the outcome then. Your production out of Taylor is the outcome. We're talking about like whether your band took off or not, but for you, it's really like, what did I do?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if I can pivot away from the bands that I'm in need to be successful, I literally, while we've been talking, got a text from my buddy Sean Graham, one of my favorite people in the whole world who I was in a band with. That band broke up and it was not fun to have that band break up. I would murder people if Sean asked me to, because I trust him that much. That is a success. That's what I got out of trying. The success, I thought it was going to be being in a band and being rich and famous and all that stuff. The real success was the people I met along the way.
Oh, man. I just imagine like flowers blooming around your face. When you say that.
Maybe I'll have a little flower bouquet pop up next to my head when I say that. But
emotional
really
means we say honest emotional things and then I make fun of Taylor for saying
that's
it.
right. That's the man part of it. The emotion part is the honesty, and the man part is tearing each other down for it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's right. Sounds like your relationship with Sean was a successful outcome of your efforts.
Absolutely. And Christian, my other guy I talk about a lot, Jihad. Jihad wasn't a bandmate, but like the idea that it wasn't a success because I didn't accomplish the thing is to say that all the great things in my life because of the effort no longer count. That I really struggle with and push against. I refuse to accept that.
So if your goal
Pete,
was to be
for example, like me meeting you and doing this podcast, the effort putting towards it and the connection and the conversations, the logistics can be garbage sometimes, but the conversation, this is the success. I get to talk to Pete and I get to learn things, and the things that I learn change who I am as a person. Success. Am I rich because of it? No.
That is interesting, because that sounds like a broader term of success. Like someone who's dying, who died a failure, whose farms failed, their business ventures failed, and they smile as they say goodbye to their grandchildren, and he just says, man, it was one wild ride. It was a fantastic experience. And they go, Grandpa, you didn't make any money, like you failed at everything. And he's like,
Movie
I
time.
had so many good things that happened to me along the way. That's the success.
See this kid right here?
Yeah.
I made her.
Oh, that's so uncomfortable.
That's my daughter, Alex. She just came in time and informed me that we now have to go not have to. We go get to watch the new Mario movie.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, in terms of success,
What are you
you're
doing?
witnessing it firsthand. This is
Yes,
it.
I successfully made a child who I
Yeah.
successfully enjoy spending time with.
And you have the
It is
choice to go
success.
do that.
Yeah.
Yep. You may not buy
You
the
could-
theater, but you'll go see a movie with your kid.
Stick your head in here, you weirdo.
Eh.
All right.
Thanks
I
for
think that
listening,
means that,
everybody.
yeah, let us know how much success you think we're not capable of achieving because we're such terrible people.
Tell us
What
about
are
your
you doing?
successes in life, your luck.
Yes. Yes, we love hearing from people. emotionalnpc@gmail.com. Pete, we've successfully podcasted. We have bead today.
We have bead. All right. Well, love you, Taylor.
Love you too, man. I'll see you later.
Bye.